All right, hey everyone, let's jump right in. We're really excited for this one, getting a sneak peek at a new album, and it's called Loveless Drops.
Oh yeah, this should be good.
And this is by Douglas Richardson. And here's the thing, the genre. It's described as instrumental hard-hitting bass.
Yeah, so that's right. So it's not like your typical pop song with verses and choruses and all that, right? We're talking just pure instrumental music here.
Right.
And yeah, with a really strong emphasis on the bass, it's getting more and more popular, especially in the underground scenes. I mean, it's known for just this intense energy, very atmospheric, the soundscapes.
Yeah, so we should be thinking less about catchy lyrics and melodies, right?
Yeah.
And more about like a sonic journey. We've got the track list for Loveless Drops. And some of the titles are, well, they're interesting, to say the least.
Very interesting.
We've got like Absent Father, Heartless, and High Top Fade, just to name a few.
Right, those are some standouts for sure. And this is actually Richardson's third album. We're not dealing with a newcomer here. The stuff we have actually calls him Douglas Richardson, producer extraordinaire. So he's clearly been doing this for a while, honing his skills.
Yeah, definitely not his first rodeo.
And it really seems like this new album's building on all that experience, this unique artistic vision.
Absolutely. So we've got this experienced producer, really unique genre, and some pretty interesting, evocative track titles. What else can we find here? What else can we figure out from the info that we have?
Well, there's this phrase that keeps popping up everywhere. It's for the streets. And it seems like it's a very intentional, tagline connected with the album. And it gives us a clue, I think, about who this music might be for, the audience and maybe even the vibe.
Yeah.
That Richardson's going for overall.
For the streets, it's got a certain edge to it for sure. Do you think it could be could it be hinting at like a raw sound? Yep. Unfiltered, or maybe like a connection to urban culture, street life?
Yeah, maybe. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
That's where it gets fun, We got to look at all these clues and put the puzzle together. The track titles, like you said, some emotional stuff in there. They kind of fit with that for the streets aesthetic.
Yeah, they do.
Like Absent Father.
Yeah.
It suggests, I don't know, rawness, vulnerability. And then you've got Heartless and High Top Fade. Maybe that's a cultural reference or something, a nostalgic vibe.
Yeah, totally. And it's almost like we're getting like a peek into a world, or a slice of life maybe, through these titles and this tagline.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what's so cool about instrumental music, right? You don't have lyrics telling you what to think. So it's up to you, the listener, to come up with your own interpretation, to create your own narrative. The track titles are like little anchors, They kind of guide your imagination.
Yeah, it's like a soundtrack. But the story hasn't been written yet. And Loveless dropping November 8th. That could be that story.
Yeah, I like that. And with all of Richardson's experience and this genre he's created, oh man, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, we're excited to hear it. Yeah, it really is fascinating to think about, like how music can just take you to different places. Even specific emotions without using any words.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's exactly what Richardson is going for with this album.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just using the power of sound, specifically that hard-hitting bass, to create like a real experience, something visceral, emotionally resonant.
Definitely. So we've talked about, the track titles and that for the streets tagline, but I'm kind of curious to explore the technical side a little bit.
Okay.
What can you tell us about this genre? Instrumental, hard-hitting bass.
Okay, well, like the name suggests, it's all about the bass, right? It's a subgenre of electronic music.
Yeah.
And it emphasizes these deep, powerful bass lines. Yeah. Think of it like a physical impact, but in sound.
Oh, wow.
It's not just about how loud it is. It's about the quality, the texture of those bass frequencies.
So it's about creating a feeling, almost like a physical sensation.
Exactly. And that's where the hard hitting comes in. It's music you feel in your chest, It vibrates through you. It's often used in genres like dubstep and trap. But what Richardson's doing, and he's taking those elements, stripping them down, and really focusing on the raw power of the bass itself.
I see. So it's like he's isolating the most impactful element of the music and using that to create something completely new. And thinking back to those track titles, it's interesting to imagine how those emotions, like the sense of loss in Absent Father, the rawness of Heartless, how those might be translated into these intense bass soundscapes.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Richardson's giving us the raw materials, right? The sounds, the titles. And we get to build our own emotional world around them. It's like a collaboration between the artist and the listener.
That's awesome. So we also talked about that YouTube channel, Mastermind DJS. which seems to be connected to Richardson. And some of those track titles from the album, they appear on both older and newer videos on the channel.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes they even have different lengths. I'm wondering if this could be a way for Richardson to kind of test out ideas, experiment with the music a little before like finalizing everything for the album.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. I mean, artists use platforms like YouTube all the time to share works in progress, get reactions, refine their ideas. The fact that some of those titles appear in multiple versions with different lengths, I mean, it could definitely be a sign that he's using that channel as a sonic laboratory.
I love that. It adds another layer to this whole sneak peek thing we're doing. It's not just about the album itself. It's like we're getting a look into the creative process.
Right. Like seeing how the music evolves over time.
Exactly. It highlights the idea that music is alive. You know, it's not static. It's always changing. It grows. I think that's important to keep in mind with this album. Loveless drops. We're not just listening to a finished product here. We're entering a conversation with the music, with the artist, and with our own interpretations.
I love that. That takes the listening experience to a whole other level. It's not just passive.
Totally.
It's active.
It's engaging, yeah. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so exciting, right? It's not just about gathering information. It's about exploring possibilities, asking questions, making connections. And, ultimately, we're preparing ourselves for a deeper, a richer listening experience when that album drops on November 8th.
I'm so ready. Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Loveless drops, I keep coming back to this idea of For the Streets. We've talked about it as maybe an indicator of the target audience or the overall vibe. Yeah, and we've connected it to like those raw emotional undertones in the track titles too. But what was really interesting is how For the Streets intersects with this genre. Yeah. Instrumental, hard-hitting bass.
Right. It's not just the words themselves. It's how they work together to create this sonic landscape.
Exactly, yeah. Like imagine you're walking down a busy street. There's this pulse, this energy that you can just feel.
Totally.
The sounds of traffic, conversations, music, it all mixes together.
Right.
Creates a symphony of city life.
And that's what Loveless Drops feels like to me, even before hearing it. It's like the soundtrack to that experience. Richardson's capturing that urban pulse, that raw energy, and channeling it through these intense bass soundscapes.
Yeah, and by taking out the lyrics, he's creating space for us to put our own experiences in there, our own stories. It becomes like a personalized soundtrack, a reflection of your own journey through the city, through life.
Yeah, I love that. It's like he's saying, here's the feeling, now you bring the story.
Exactly, and that's what makes this album so powerful, so transformative. It's not just about listening, it's about participating. Connecting with the music on a deeper level, something that goes beyond just genres and categories.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening out there, as you wait for Loveless Drops to come out on November 8th, we want you to think about how these ideas resonate with you. What does For the Streets mean to you? What stories come to mind when you read those track titles?
Yeah, and how do you think the fact that it's instrumental is going to shape your experience when you finally hear it? Those are some good questions to think about as you get ready for this sonic journey.
Loveless Drops is going to be a unique experience. We can't wait to hear it, and we hope you'll join us in exploring it when the album drops. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Cool.